Yo, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to another Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate video. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the abnormal status ailment, sleep, and the damage associated with attacking sleeping monsters. If you've watched any of my Monster Hunter streams, then you'll know that both myself and my team, the appropriately named Naptime Ninjas, like to run with this, the Shrouded Nosilla Charge Blade, which carries the sleep element, and can therefore be used to put monsters to sleep, after which point we then attack it and do some pretty nasty damage. I've also, since then, had quite a few questions regarding sleep and the damage associated with it, so I figured, seeing as it's a favourite tactic of mine, it's only right I made a video. So, where do we begin? Well, first up, sleep, poison, paralysis and blast are all referred to as abnormal status ailments. A weapon carrying an abnormal status effect has a 1 in 3 chance to deal a status damage hit, and each monster has a starting threshold. Every time you successfully land a status damage hit, you are building up the status on the monster, and once it meets the threshold, the status will be applied. In the case of sleep, that simply means that once you hit the threshold, the monster will fall asleep. Upon successfully meeting the threshold, it then increases the next time round. So for example, let's just say that I needed to land 6 hits to make a monster fall asleep. The next time round, that might be 8 or 10 hits. Those are just examples to illustrate the increasing threshold and not actual values, but you get the idea. Different monsters have different thresholds. Monsters will also recover some of the status damage done if you don't attack them for a while. So for example, if you hit the monster a few times, you die, you cart, you then run all the way back, chances are you'll have to do a few more hits to make up some of that missing damage. This is also why faster attacking weapons, namely dual swords or sword and shield, are much more efficient at applying status effects than say something like a greatsword or a hammer. Obviously slower weapons are still capable, it'll just take a bit longer. So, that's a little bit about how abnormal status effects work. Now let's talk about sleep specifically. Sleep is a powerful ally, because if you attack a sleeping monster, that hit will get a considerable damage multiplier, which means it's a great way to deal some nasty damage and also break some parts. The damage multiplier works like this. Once a monster is asleep, the very first attack that hits it and wakes it up is the one that will receive the multiplier. If that first attack is a melee attack, i.e. from something like a sword, lance or hammer, then it will result in double damage. That's a 200% bonus. If, however, the first hit is from a ranged weapon or an item, i.e. bow, gun, bomb, etc., then the multiplier is times 3, in other words 300%. So as you can see, that is some serious damage potential, and this is why sleep bombing is a tactic employed by a lot of high level players. Put it simply, they use speedy weapons to put a monster to sleep, i.e. something like dual swords, and then use bombs to dish out the damage. They then repeat the process, and invariably take down the monster in a relatively short space of time. So, with all of that in mind, what do you need to look out for? Well, when hunting with sleep weapons, you always need to pay attention for the monster going to sleep. While you can hit it during the falling asleep animation, if you even do so much as scratch it when it is actually asleep, it'll wake up and your damage opportunity has been wasted. That means, if you're hunting as a group, everyone needs to pay attention, and the easiest way to do that is to listen for the music. See, when you're fighting a monster, music plays, but when the monster goes to sleep, it stops. Listen to this. See how the second it began to fall asleep, the music stopped? That, my friends, is an indicator that is quite easy to watch out for, or listen out for, should I say. And then once it's asleep, what should you be doing? Well, you have a number of options. As mentioned, you can bring large barrel bombs, plant them by the monster, and detonate them. Normally, you'd use a small bomb to detonate the big bombs, but be careful how you place it. Make sure the small bomb is further away from the monster than the large bomb. Place it the other way around, and the first thing to hit the monster is the explosion from the small bomb, which means that you're getting a 300% damage multiplier on a tiny weak bomb, as opposed to the 2 large barrel bombs. This method is ideal for use with faster weapons, like dual swords or sword and shield, simply because those weapons per single hit don't do as much damage, so hitting a sleeping monster with a single attack from a sword and shield isn't going to do that much, which is why you would favour bombs. If, however, you have a more powerful weapon, like a greatsword or a charge blade, then you can opt to land a powerful hit on the monster instead. With my charge blade, that's the ultra, or with a greatsword, that's the level 3 charge. Also, you may have seen this on my streams as well. When my whole team runs with charge blades, we use the map ping to synchronise our hits, so we can all land ultras on the sleeping monster at the same time. It's pretty effective, and it looks pretty awesome. The main thing is, if you're hunting as a group, let people know. The last thing you want to do is have someone use a weak attack to wake up a monster, in turn wasting your damage multiplier. Also, one last thing. Given that you have a damage multiplier on the first hit, this is also a great way to cut off a monster's tail if you're having trouble. Attack the tail while it's sleeping, and more often than not, if you've done enough damage, it'll come right off. But, with all of that said and done, that, my friends, brings me to the end of this video. Sleep bombing or sleep attacking a monster is a really fun way to hunt, so if you haven't tried it yet, then I highly recommend you do. Hopefully you guys found this helpful, hopefully you enjoyed it, and thank you very much for watching. Take it easy, catch you next time, peace out.